Hi there, my name is Cassandra Bunk. I'm a policy analyst in the Climate Action Secretariat in the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Strategy. I'd like to share with you today about the BC Community Climate Funding Guide for Indigenous communities and local governments. This was developed in partnership between the Climate Action Secretariat and the Electricity and Alternative Energy Division in the Ministry of Energy, Mines, and Low Carbon Innovation. Over many years working with communities, we heard how complicated the funding landscape is and that identifying programs that fit with community climate action projects can be a challenge. Our objective was to develop an improved and simplified funding webpage with tools to support Indigenous communities and local governments to access climate action funding. We wanted to reduce the capacity burden, both for BC to produce the guide and for communities to find and access relevant programs. Prior to the funding guide, static PDF lists of funding programs were distributed, and the community did the work to figure out which programs worked for their proposed project through detailed research. The funding guide is a one-stop resource with simple search process to quickly match community projects with relevant funding programs. To develop the funding guide, we brought on a design team to do research with community members in order to design a site that is functional and well laid out. We focused on user experience design and held 2 rounds of engagement with Indigenous communities and local governments where they could interact with wireframes and provide feedback. We learned what types of information are relevant to communities looking for funding, and we designed the site to highlight that information. We heard that communities have trouble sorting through all the funding programs to find the ones that work for them, so we designed lots of different search features that are connected to a robust database. We conduct ongoing engagement with funding programs through our quarterly update process to ensure that program information is up to date and give programs an opportunity to provide feedback to us on how to improve the site. We developed many other support features, including a Contact Us form, helpful resources including tips to complete a successful application, instructional videos, and a deadline tracker and funding finder tool that I will show in the next slides. The funding guide includes this deadline tracker, which is a calendar with deadlines for applying to funding programs. And we created this because we heard that keeping track of deadlines is an important consideration for communities. The Funding Finder tool is one of the simple search features built into the site that helps communities find the most relevant funding programs for their project. The tool uses progressive disclosure, which is a guided process of answering questions about what you're looking for to narrow down the funding programs being shown to you. If you have a project in mind, let's say you want to do an active transportation project in your community, you can answer these questions to find the most relevant funding. Once you narrow down your search results, you can easily export your results to a PDF to share with your colleagues. Each funding program has a dedicated program page with key details that a community wants to know, such as the program category, the program description, the amount of funding available, and eligibility requirements. We wanted the funding guide to include enough information about programs that community members can decide if it's a good fit, but not so much that it's overwhelming. If a community finds a program that looks right, the guide provides links to the funding program website and contact information for the program administrators so that they can learn more. There are over 100 programs listed on the site related to clean energy, sustainable transportation, community infrastructure, and climate preparedness and adaptation. We have programs from provincial and federal government, Indigenous organizations, Fortis BC, BC Hydro, trusts, financial institutions, and more. It's been viewed almost 25,000 times by over 4,000 people from across BC in the last year. Also in the last year, we've held 8 webinars for local government, Indigenous communities, consultants, and funding program administrators. The funding guide has been well received by communities and continues to provide value and economic impact to communities across British Columbia. Thanks very much, and please check out the funding guide website by following this link.